Chapter 13. Operations. A new day was upon us. The sun was shining brightly through the window by the bed, and right into my eyes, I was the first to wake up. I found myself huddled behind Derpy, my forelegs wrapped around her back, resting on her chest. I watched her sleep peacefully, as I remembered the unforgettable night we shared together. I would go further, but I'm afraid of Trixie. As I pressed my hoof on her mane, her eyes slowly opened up and yawned at the morning sun. She looked up at me, staring down at her. She smiled. "Good morning," she said, groggy from the sleep. "How are you?" I asked. "I'm fine," she replied. As she rolled over to face me, a wince fell upon her. It's still her bandaged wing. I stopped her from moving. "It's all right," she said. "Comes and goes." "Are you ready for today?" "I think so," she hesitates. "I'm a little nervous." "Don't worry. I'll be with you every step of the way." "I'll hold you to it," she yawned again. "Oh my, I'm still a bit sleepy." "The first train doesn't leave for another hour. We could stay in bed a bit longer if you like." "Can we now?" she said in a playful tone of voice. "I guess a couple more minutes couldn't hurt." I make my way on top of her as we kiss. We were getting into it. I suppose I was deleted! Somebody was at the door. I ignored it at first, thinking it'd probably be a door sales pony. We heard it again. "There's somebody at the door," Derpy said, breaking away from our kiss. I sighed in frustration, forcefully removing myself from bed and Derpy, much to Derpy's amusement. Ow! I opened the door soon after to see Big Mac on the other side. His eyes widened, not expecting to see me so soon. "You're back!" he yelled in happiness. He was about to give me one of his death hugs when he stopped himself. Instead, he gave me a simple pat on the mane. I chuckled at that. "It's good to see you, Big Mac." "Likewise, my friend. When did you get back?" "Just yesterday." "Morning, Big Macintosh!" Derpy yelled from the bedroom.
"Morning, Miss Hooves."
He looks right behind me, but she wasn't there.
"Where is she?"
"She's in bed. We had a bit of a long night."
"Oh."
Big Mac thought for a few moments, then came to a sudden realization. I don't think it was possible, but his cheeks became redder than usual.
"Oh, my apologies. I didn't mean to."
"Big Mac, it's okay."
"So, did you find what you were looking for?"
he asked quietly. There's no need to be silent. I told her everything. To answer your question, I did.
"That's great. When are you two return to Manhattan?"
"Later today."
"Today?"
He sounded disappointed.
"But you'll just go back."
"I know, but we shouldn't be gone too long."
"Oh, okay. I guess I'll leave you to pack."
Before he could leave, I tapped on his shoulder, causing him to turn around. "Big Mac, thank you for taking care of Derpy when I was away."
"Yep," he said. "That's what friends are for, right?"
He gave me another head pat and then trotted away. It was nice seeing him again. I never asked him about the rose garden in front, but I guess there was no real need to ask. He had bigger matters to return to. It didn't take long for Derpy to get out of bed and pack our things. Just in case we had to stay in the city longer than expected. I made my classic egg breakfast. We both gobbled down without breaking a sweat. In less than an hour, we were out the door, ready to go to Manhattan. The return trip was much nicer than the initial one, mainly because I wasn't alone this time around. I could see that Derpy was still nervous, but would always smile, and dismiss it whenever I would question it. She put on an extremely brave face. We arrived in Manhattan in what felt like a short while. Derpy looked around, unfamiliar with the city around her. She saw that the things I told her about back seeing in Ponyville were entirely true. The crowds, the noise, everything. She stepped off the train, barely able to cope with the change of location. I took the liberty of carrying both her luggage and mine on my back, so I could get as comfortable as possible. As we made our way to the hotel, we stayed at the same hotel I was at merely a couple of days ago, due to it being so close to the Crystal Clear Clinic. Heck, for a second I thought it was the exact same room, till a quick glance at the trash showed no sign of that ominous receipt I found my first visit. Of course, it was probably taken out by the maid when I left. "How do you like the view?" I asked, seeing Derpy look at the window. "It's really high." "Really? Farther out than you've flown before?" "Much farther," she nodded. Carefully, she backed away from the window. Derpy chose not to see the doctor on the day we arrived. Instead, she opted to take a bath and spend the rest of the day in the hotel. I wanted to give her all the time she needed, in no way wanting to rush things. We spent the night watching some bad movies on TV. We had a few laughs, sure, but I could still see the depressed look on her face. No matter how well she tried to hide it, I could feel her shaking as we slept in the bed. She wasn't cold, but she was scared. I held her as close as I could, with subsiding her shakes, but only by a little. Derpy woke up early the next morning, practically forcing me out of my slumber. She was sinking to bed so hard, when I opened my eyes, I saw she was already prepared to go. Some point looks ready, I said. I felt bad for not going yesterday, so I wanted to get up as early as possible, she said in a quick manner. I took a look behind her to see a tray which held a cup and a pot full of coffee. I didn't know you drank coffee. I don't. I just went to the cafe downstairs and asked, what's the best way of waking up? And the guy there gave me this tray of coffee, so I drank it. Tasted funny, but I kept drinking it, and now I'm ready to go, so let's go! She said with such quickness that, once again, her statement had a severe lack of commas. She bounced up and down the hallway as I trudged my way through to get to the elevator. The ride down was similarly bouncy. So was walking through the lobby, with other police watching us, namely her as we made our way out. It wasn't until we were at the front door crystal clear that the coffee's effects began to subside. She held her head, dizzy from what the rush she received. Oh yeah, she saw the signs of the police, and she let out a loud gulp. This is it, isn't it? She asked. Yes, it is. The moment of truth, I said as I put my foreleg around her. You ready? She looked at me, then back at the front door, then back to me again. After playing the back and forth game for a while, she smiled. Let's do it, she said. Her fears were extinguished in a 3-word sentence. We went into the Eagle Eyes' office and waited for her to arrive. Every so often, I would glance down at Derpy. No longer was this look of nervousness on her face like the day before, but a combination of determination and anxiety. She tapped her hoof on the floor in rapid pace. One could assume a woodpecker was in the room with us. Not 15 minutes had passed, and Eagle Eyes came in. Derpy stopped with the tapping and sat back, like she wasn't doing anything. The good doctor greeted me, telling me it was nice to see me again, before turning her attention to Derpy. You must be Titidu. It's so nice to meet you, she said, shaking Derpy's hoof. If you don't mind me saying, but the pictures that were shown to me do you no justice. Thanks, Derpy blessed. Nice to meet you too. Then, I'm sure you're wondering how we're going about this. Eagle Eyes wasted no time to get to the procedure. First, we're going to do a series of tests, a couple of x-rays and finally an eye exam. It'll all be completely painless, so you don't have to learn anything about shots. Afterwards, I'm going to evaluate what would be the best course of action. Is that all clear, Ditsy? Yes, Doctor. Please, just call me Eagle Eyes. Can you come with me? Derpy turned to me and asked. I wasn't going to say no. I tend to keep my promises. I stayed with her for every test he went through, from a follow the light test to reading letters on a board from a distance. Derpy tried it all. As each test passed by, distress returned. It was hard to keep her still during the x-ray. She was thinking so much. Eagle Eyes was trying her best to calm her, but she was too scared to continue. When she looked away, I took the opportunity to calm Derpy I knew how, by planting a small romantic kiss on her lips. In an instant, she calmed down, and the doctor was none the wiser. It took nearly half the day to get through the tests and exams, and we were right back where we started at the end of it, in Eagle's Eye's office. You are great, I assured Derpy. I was getting so scared. Thank you for everything. As I told you, I'm staying with you every step of the way. As she smiled back at me, Eagle Eyes returned with the results. As he sat down at our office table, we both noticed the same thing. Eagle Eyes didn't look happy. What's the matter? Derpy was the first to ask. The results were what I was afraid of. Please, Derpy said, don't hold back. It appears from the x-rays you suffer from a very rare birth defect. Your right eye is deformed, misshapen to the point where it is not possible to do any corrective surgery. Why not? I asked. If we try to remove or lessen the problem areas of her eye, it will quote-unquote heal itself and be restored to what it initially was. What are the options? Asked Derpy. Are there any options? There are 3 options. Either leave it the way it is now, remove it completely, or a transplant. Transplant? Remove your eye and replace it with a donor. This one is risky, but they've done it before, but it's a special case. Finding a donor is the hardest part. It could take weeks, maybe months for somebody to... I'll do it, I quickly interrupted. The two of them looked at me, but I paid no attention to the look of Fran Derpy's face. I'll give you my eye. I don't know what scared her more. Did I volunteer to give her my eye, or did I say it with no second thoughts whatsoever? Of course, being so close to Derpy, I immediately know her blood type, and that somehow our blood type actually matched. So thus, I now realize that our blood type can actually sync up. So thus, there's no way that her eye could reject itself. Because I'm a type O donor. Seriously, people, have your characters say this. This makes the donor situation so much easier for me to swallow.
What? Derpy said, but you can't.
Season 8, Eagle Eyes continued. Aside from the defect, her eyes have perfect vision. In order for it to work, I had to perform surgery on her eye to make it suitable for her, and that it'll cost more. Bets don't matter to me, I can afford it. I told the truth. With all the work I had done in the past few months, I had more than enough. It should have come, Ditzy. I looked at Derpy, with all the sincerity I could muster. I knew she wanted to say no, and I didn't blame her. This was a risky operation, one that could very well end with both of us missing an eye. I was going to do whatever it took to make her happy, but she knew that just by looking at me.
Okay,
she said to Eagle Eyes. Alright, I'll get the paperwork and we'll start tomorrow. Unless you want more time to prepare.
No, tomorrow's fine.
Okay, Eagle Eyes left, and Derpy looked at me. Whatever worries she had about herself were directly placed on me. It's okay, I told her. That's why I have two eyes. She chuckled only slightly. I could see a single tear go down her cheek as she rested her hand onto mine. That night, she embraced me tighter than she ever had before as we rested back at the hotel. Can't sleep?
No, you?
Me neither.
What if something goes wrong and we both have one eye?
A plausible question. Well, I hear there's an opening in the pirate business. Derpy loudly laughed in response. I hadn't heard her laugh like that in a long time. Considering the situation, it was refreshing.
It's not funny,
she said, still laughing. Then why are you laughing? I asked her, her laugh taking hold of me, causing me to laugh as well.
I don't know.
She calmed down. After a couple of moments of silence, she said,
So, who will be the captain?
Obviously, you would be the captain.
No, I'm too dumb to be the captain.
You're many things, Derpy Hooves. Dumb is not one of them. You would be the captain, and I'd be your loyal first mate.
So you would do it whatever I asked of you?
Exactly. Whatever you like. Derpy liked this idea. From the looks of things, a little too much.
What would our ship's name be?
She soon asked. That's a tough one. I said, thinking a possible name. How about the SS Muffin Maker?
That's a silly name,
she disagreed. It was either that or the SS Big Rump.
You said I didn't have a big rump.
She glanced at me playfully. We tussled in bed pretending to fight, but we were laughing hysterically, having a good time. We were both aware, though, that this was a distraction of the events to come. I rolled on top of her, staring into her eyes as her left stared into mine.
Whatever happens tomorrow,
you know I always loved you, right? She caressed my cheek and gave me a passing kiss.
You're giving me an eye tomorrow. I don't need any more proof that you love me.
Still, I want you to know that.
Trust me, I know.
The next day was more of a blur than anything else. We woke up and immediately got ready for the operation. We walked to the clinic, greeting Eagle Eyes. I was already there waiting for us. "They're going to put you under first," she told me. "Your eye is in top condition. We will then start on you," she said to Derpy. "This is the last time you two are going to see each other until the end of the operations, so..." She backed away a bit, giving us room to ourselves. Derpy on cue embraced me, and I embraced her. "It'll be okay," I told her. "It'll only be a few hours."
I'm going to miss you.
"I'm going to miss you too." I struggled to separate myself from her. She wiped the tears from my face as I followed Eagle Eyes to the operating room. I laid on the milky white table as Eagle Eyes put a ventilator on my muzzle. "I want you to count backwards from 10. I do so, as the sleeping gas filled my lungs. I thought about Derpy, like I always tend to do. I thought about the things I said to her, the time spent with her. This is normally what ponies would think about if they were going to die. Last thoughts and everything. but I told myself I was going to get through this. And when I awaken, I'll spend the rest of my life with her. Of all the great gestures I could have done to show her I loved her more than life itself, this was probably the best one. The moment I hit one, I was out like a light. Whatever happens next was all in fate's hands. Eagle Eyes is too. Yes, Quill, you're giving her such a wonderful romantic gesture. By making it so, you're both blind in one eye. Yeah, Eagle Vision, you should have told him the truth. You can't transplant an entire eye. Maybe some corneas, sure. But an entire eye like that? No. Sorry, I know you're trying to be all romantic and stuff, Vic, but can't argue with the science. I woke in a cold room. The walls were white, and the floor was a dark gray. I recognized the type of room with no problem. This was a hospital room. My right eye had a bandage over. As I touched the bandage with my hoof, I sighed. Not about annoyance, as sighs are usually associated with, but relief. The relief was soon halted when I pressed further. Realized that without a right eye, whatever was left hurt a lot. Kind of stupid to do so in retrospect. No, really! But that's how it went. One moment you're going to an operation, the next you're poking at your now empty eye socket like a moron. Looking around the room, it was dark. Either the lights were off or it was nighttime. Did the operation really take that long? I hoped Derpy was okay. Maybe she's still being treated. Eagle Eyes did have to make my right eye as perfect as Derpy's left. I'll get this one thing, though. The bed was extremely comfortable, compared to Ponyville General's beds. The door at the end of the room opened, and out came Eagle Eyes. She saw I was awake and walked over to my bed. You're awake. How are you feeling? Like I just lost an eye, Doc. I assume so, she chuckled. How are you otherwise? Where's Ditsy? I asked. It's usually stick with Derpy's real name when speaking to the doctor. She okay? Did the operation? She's fine, Eagle Eyes interrupted. Turns out, all we really need to do was some muscle connections. That's how you actually fix lazy eye, sir. Lazy eye, you know. We just took out your eye because you had eye cancer. Surprise! The operation went by smoothly. There were no complications. Oh, thanks, Celestia. I sunk back into my bed, more relaxed than I was before. Where is she now? She's in the recovery, still asleep. We just finished the operation with her only an hour ago. We won't know the results until the morning. So it was nighttime. Can I see her? I want to be there when she wakes up. The effects of anesthesia might affect your walking ability. I could consider it, yeah? No, I could do this. I couldn't. The moment my hose hit the bomb, the numbness took hold, and I stumbled to the floor, face first. Though I couldn't see her, I imagined Eagle Eyes was laughing on the inside, at the sight of my flank in the air. On second thought, a wheelchair sounds nice, I said, removing my face from the floor. I was wheeled into Derpy's room. After a couple of tries, getting my still numb self in the chair. Hey, where's the CNA? For an instant, I was reminded of the time I saw her in the hospital room after the accident. I had to tell myself that this wasn't the case here. The look on her face while she slept wasn't one of pain, but of calm and peacefulness. The nurse pushed my chair over to the side of the bed, allowing me to hold her hoof with mine. Would you like a blanket for tonight? The nurse asked me. I nodded my head. I never left Derpy's side the entire night. Like our previous experience with the hospital, I rested my head on the side of the bed, careful not to sleep on the side of my bed, where there was now no eye. Even only sleeping on a partial section of the bed was comfortable. Why, was it a nurse, or why did Eagle Eye tell him, what to do now that he had no eye, or to give him any type of plans, or to, assist him, or do anything else? It's not explained. Are you even really a Dr. Eagle Eye? As morning approached, I felt a tooth grazing the top of my mane. I lifted my head up to see Derpy, with a tired smile looking at me.
Hey,
She said, in good spirits.
what time is it?
I looked at the window to see the sun rising. It's morning.
How long have you been here?
The entire night. I see her bandage around her eye. Hey, I chuckled. We're bandage buddies. It took a bit for her to remember, but soon she was able to recall her saying that to me when I was in the hospital. Just like me, though, it was difficult to laugh. The effects of the aesthetics were still wearing her down.
Did it work?
She asked. I don't know. We'll know soon enough. Well, considering the fact that the eye has several teeny tiny little fiber nerves inside, and it's actually impossible to transplant an entire freaking eye, due to the fact that those nerves are so tiny and so little that cutting them off is impossible. All I got to say is that thank God this world has magic. So she seemed parched, so I went to get her some water. In a couple of hours, the medication wore off, and she was back to normal. Well, as normal as she could be, since she was unsure about the results of the surgery. Once it was fully morning, Eagle Eyes came into the room. Both of you are awake. Good. How do we see any, did she?
Feel okay. Just a little anxious, that's all.
Yes, that's quite normal, considering your condition. Enough time has passed since the operation for the transfer to take effect. Would you like me to open the bandages?
Yes.
Derby hesitated. She held onto my hoof. If she had fingers, I imagined she'd be gripping it tightly. You're a pony. How do you know what fingers are? How do you know what fingers are for her to not have them? I mean, I know what fingers are, but that's because I also traverse the multiverse, collecting stories. I know what fingers are because I also have a bookstore on freaking Planet Mobius! Seriously, you should see the bookstore on Mobius. It's actually kind of nice. We are actually in New Mobotropolis, a few blocks down away from the palace. Nicole sometimes visits by to say hi and to download a few books here and there. Sometimes I get to see the princess, sure. But not always. Sometimes I feel lonely over there. But how do you know what fingers are? Close your eyes, Ditsy. I'm going to cut open the badness. Derby does so. Eagle Eyes cut the cloth with one of her talons. Slowly and carefully, she unwrapped the bandage layer by layer. The anticipation was killing both of us. Finally, the bandage was fully unwrapped and off Derpy's head. Okay, Ditsy, I want you to open your eyes, slowly. Derpy nodded in response, but she's stalling. After a long pause, she slowly opened her eyes. Gently, Eagle Eyes went on. Her eyes are fully open. Derpy gasped as tears began to well up in her eyes. The operation was a success. Thank God magic exists! Her eyes were straight as an arrow now, and she could see normally. The difference to her was instantaneous. She gently tapped the bottom of her eye. Still in disbelief, it worked.
I want a mirror. Now!
She demanded. Eagle Eyes was quick to hold a mirror to Derpy. She looked carefully at her new eye. She examined the results, looking at how straight it was. Tears pouring out of her eyes. She looked back at me.
What do you think?
I'm thinking that this is utterly impossible, and that, my suspension of disbelief is being strained to its breaking point. And I feel like this is all done just to get a super special, make an awesome happy ending. I admired her new look. On the left was her normal blonde color eye. Gold! On the right was my dark blue eye. I didn't think anything of my eyes when I looked at them in the mirror, as I never thought it was what to look at to begin with. But seeing it on her was positively stunning. You look gorgeous, I said. Derpy took a hold of me and kissed me hard.
Thank you,
she said, saying it again and again between kisses. Eagle Eyes was happy to see the end results would end up favorably, but she had to separate us out of our kissing frenzy. Okay, settle down. There's one more thing to discuss. I'll give you the bits by tomorrow, I told her, assuming it was about the currency. No, it was about the situation. What do you mean, I wondered? We can't have you walk around with an empty eye socket for every pony to see. So, would you like an eye patch or a glass eye? There's also several other things we need to talk to Derpy about, recovery, physical therapy to get used to seeing with a brand new eye that's not even hers, time to get adjusted, time to make sure that there's no infection happening. And oh yeah, since you dingus decided to go ahead and say, I want to give you my eye, without even thinking about if you had the same damn blood type, we're going to have to also stand by to make sure her eye doesn't reject it. Otherwise, bad things could possibly happen. Trust me, there's a certain episode of Scrubs that still gets to me. So, unless you are somehow magically gifted, I'm going to call bullshit on this.
Wow, didn't expect to see you bring out the Cox imitation.
I know. It's getting to me. iPads, definitely! Me and Derpy laughed at that, while Eagle Eyes understandably didn't get the reference. On another day, we were let go from the hospital. I paid Eagle Eyes in full for the operation, plus a little something extra for her willingness to help out. Sadly, this little story for our fair eagle, Griffith, probably has a sad story, as due to the fact that she did such a horrible job at being a surgeon, she probably got her license revoked. Because not only does she have some poor after-patient care, but she also did a very, 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 very stupid thing in just going, we need a transplant.
I'll give up my eye.
Nope, sorry, doesn't work like that. As we stated, what if this guy had, the wrong blood type? What if he had some underlying disease? What if he had some problems? I know this is supposed to be all romantic and crap, but medically speaking, it's not. I don't care if this is supposed to be a little pony. No. Just no. I have seen some good friends die from a bad surgery. We journeyed back to Ponyville, ecstatic to tell her friends the news. I admired Derpy's eyes, while she couldn't take her eyes off of my new look. I was now wearing an eye patch and glasses over my other eye.
Are you sure you didn't want her fixing the other eye?
She asked. Nah, I think I look pretty cool as a nerdy pirate, don't you think?
You look handsome,
she said. I blushed. I've never been called handsome before. Even after all that, though, I could see Derpy was still nervous. What's the matter? I asked her. Aren't you excited?
Of course I am, she said. I just don't know how the others are going to react. I had this condition for so long that I
may be worried that your body could possibly reject a new transplant. I solaced her, putting my hoof over her mouth. They're going to love you, and I know it. We arrived at the train station. Like at Manhattan, I opted to carry both bags, but Derpy decided to carry her own. As we were making our way back, we got a few turned heads. Is that Derpy hooves? One pony sitting oddly on a bench said. It looks just like her, another said. Maybe there's something different about her. Did she do something different with her mane? More and more we had turned heads. More and more the same question about the identity of Derpy was uttered. Although, how could that possibly be asked when we ponies all have the basic identification mark on our flanks? It's called a cutie mark. They're all different. We were barely halfway to the house when we turned to see a crowd had gathered behind us. Derpy looked down embarrassed, thinking every pony is judging her in a negative fashion. Just then out of the crowd came Dinky. She walked up to her mother slowly, taking her new appearance in stride. When she reached Derpy, she looked into her repaired eyes, with all the curiosity that could be seen in a filly. Oh, really? Because I had seen the dialogue earlier, and she was talking really mature for a filly.
Mama,
she said. Derpy nodded her head.
You're beautiful.
Dinky hugged her mother tightly, with all the love she could have for her. Dinky looked at me and my eye patch, knowing what I did to help her.
Thank you. sure this is absolutely safe because, there's going to be a lot of medical ramifications you need to think about first.
I simply nodded in acceptance. Then Big Mac came bursting through the crowd. Seeing us, seeing Derpy's new look as well as mine.
You're back!
He yelled.
Didn't you guys come back a little too early? I mean, a surgery like this could take, days to recover.
He ran to us and hugged all three of us simultaneously. That was the death hug I missed.
We missed you too, Big Mac.
I wheezed.
Yep, please.
He let go. We had a good laugh at that. In a couple of weeks that followed, we were once again not good to talk at the town. Rumors spread about how Derpy was cured of her condition and how my eye replaced hers. Some were more fantastical, saying that we encountered a witch in the Everfree Forest. No, you encountered a witch in apparently Manhattan to be able to do all that surgery without, the ramifications. Some were more horrifying, thinking that Derpy was mad at me, so decided to rip my eye out before the surgery herself. Sure. I told her the real story, but the rumors were the most popular ones. I guess a story without magic or violence was less interesting to them. Not for me. I do love a good romantic story. Really! As for Derpy, she was happier than she ever was. Her work had improved exponentially. The amount of accidents went from frequent to none at all. I started my writing again, and during my breaks, I read up on Derpy's cookbooks, to see if I could try my hoof at making muffins. Turned out to be harder than I thought, especially with no more depth perception. I tasted the muffins myself. It started off horribly, but got better and better with each passing attempt. Derpy was there to help with any burns that I had. Now I was the clumsy one. She was the one fixing me. Then came her birthday. And the war. Yeah, I know I sound ominous in that sentence, but trust me, it's not that kind of story. Oh, thank God. Her birthday fell on a Tuesday, a day where she had work. I had all the time I needed to prepare. I worked hard on her meal, dessert, and present. I wasn't going to blow it. Then she came home late, around 7, when she saw me at the table, patiently waiting for her. Sadly, we were distracted by all the pus that was coming out of her eye due to the fact that was actually infected.
I'm so sorry, she said. I had a big delivery today.
It's okay, I assured her. Happy birthday. I kissed her on the cheek. She gasped.
Oh my, I completely forgot about my birthday.
It's okay, I didn't. Sit down. The similarities to my birthday were astounding. Derpy sat down on the table. Since I didn't have a wing, I had to cover her meal with a cloth. I uncovered to reveal the first thing I ever made for her. My delicious scrambled egg breakfast. She clapped her hands with delight.
I miss your scrambled eggs,
she announced. She dug right in. When she was finished, it was time for her dessert. I placed the plate down and uncovered a blueberry muffin.
You made me a muffin?
She said, eyes wide in surprise. It wasn't easy, due to being a terrible cook with no depth perception, I joked. Be honest with me, don't hold anything back. She took a bite out of the muffin. She slowly took in every bite. She didn't vomit, so it was already a good sign. After what felt like minutes of chewing, she swallowed the muffin chunk. Thinking for a couple more moments, she said,
That was really good.
I told you to be honest with me.
No, I really am. It was good.
But not as good as yours, though.
Well, no.
We both laughed. I appreciated her honesty.
But you're getting it, I swear.
Okay, I want you to close your eyes for this one. Time for your present.
Present, please. What have you given me was already more than enough.
She muzzled to her eye. Not to me. Close your eyes. She did so. Chuckling at the thought of what it could be. No peeking.
I'm not.
I went downstairs to my office and pulled out a box of my checks. Trying back down, I nearly tripped, but I managed to get my footing okay. I placed the box down. She still had her eyes closed. Okay, now, open them. She opened her eyes to look at the box. It was the same box that she gave me after our first meeting.
More muffins?
She inquired. Open it up. She opened the box, her eyes widened, wider than they'd ever been since I'd known her. Inside the box was a wedding band. And next to it was a ring.
That was horrible. It's just
She can't believe it. I was going to give it to you on our 1 year anniversary, but I thought tonight would be better. Her eyes were crying tears of joy.
Where did you get this?
When I first went to Manhattan, I figured if I didn't find any pony there to help, I didn't want to leave empty-hoofed. Full apology, dear reader. I didn't want to reveal that I got her a wedding band when I was in Manhattan. Besides, if you knew where the story was going to go, what would fun be in getting there?
So even before?
Yes, even before. I kneeled before her. Her tears came quickly. She knew what was coming. Did she do? She smiled. This is the first time I called her by her real name. The past year with you has been the greatest experience I've ever been through. We had good times and bad, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in all of Equestria. And I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me? Her mouth was agape, but her smile remained. She was stunned and speechless. Suddenly she stammered, like she thought she had said something, but realized she didn't.
Yes, she said. Sweet Celestia, of course I'll marry you. Oh my gosh.
She lunged, embracing me so hard we fell onto the floor. She was laughing at her current position, but still in tears. We kissed passionately until finally we simply laid there. She was still on top of me. Not a bad position to be in, I must admit. We looked into each other's eyes, as if doing so for the very first time.
I love you, she says. I love you so much.
I love you too, with all of my heart. She placed her head on my chest and rested there, listening to my heartbeat, then falling asleep in a matter of minutes. I carried her over to bed and placed her gently on my side. I moved up behind her and embraced her, put the wedding band on her hoof, and kissed the top of her mane, before going to sleep myself. It was the best sleep I ever had in my life. Epilogue. We were married a couple weeks after that. It was a small wedding, not as extravagant as other weddings, but it didn't need to be that. We were married in a chapel, where the priest said his words of great conviction. Derby wrote her own vows, and I wrote mine. Big Mac was my best colt, since I didn't have a best mare lying around anywhere. Almost every pony in town was there to see the wedding. We were told it was the biggest turnout, only rivaled by a wedding in Camelot, that somehow resulted in a war with creatures called the Changelings. Not sure what happened there. I was happy no such events occurred on our wedding day, but I appreciated the remark. Our vows were beautiful and reduced us both to tears. But since this is the epilogue, I best not to close what they are. It's been over a year now since we've been married. I don't know what year you are reading this, but that's the time it's been at the moment of this writing. What? I quit my job at the Equestrian Sun-Times and moved my business to Ponyville, where I now run the Ponyville Confidential. After my previous manager quit, due to being a gossip column, I turned to a full-fledged paper with reviews, articles, and short stories. I still write shorts and editorials now and again, but I've given the job to better, more talented ponies who work there. I've never been a leader before, and I do admit, my first day on the job was a scary experience. But when it all came down to it, I couldn't imagine a better career. Just a few days ago, we got news that Derpy is pregnant, and she's due in about 10 months. Oh my god, finally something accurate! We're currently arguing about if the foal's going to be female. I think it's going to be a boy. We discussed what happened if the foal had the same condition that befell her. I assured her that no matter what, the foal would be in love with everything we have. Even if we haven't come up with a name yet. I'm giving the honor to Ditsy. I think I'm horrible with names. Yeah, we can't even remember yours. As for Ditsy, she still works at the post office, still delivering mail one house at a time. To see her come home every day, happy, healthy, and without injury, makes my heart flutter every time. She's gotten much more popular with her fixed eye, making new friends, having new guests at the house on weekends. I even had to fight off some interested colts and stallions, trying to woo her away from me. No worries, it didn't end in violence. So you can't kick out the newfound attention, but would tell them she was in love with me, and nothing could change that. Hey! Look, I find Derpy very beautiful for 2 reasons. 1, she's cute, innocent, and very friendly. She's the best male mare I've got. And second, that mare is a total me.
Go on.
Oh, you know what? I gotta open a new bookstore in Konoha for a few minutes. I hope you don't mind, Trixie. I'm going to take the recording equipment to that place for a second. I would take you, but I know you hate going place walking. Okay, here I am at Konoha, so I can say it. Derpy is a total MILF.
Trixie is pen pals with Ino.
What? No other colors that I'd had. I loved her even before she was cured. And I love her even without her being cured. What's your excuse, jackanape? Many points, Ditsy included, have asked me constantly. One question became easier to answer over time. Why? Why her? Why did I fall for such a clumsy mare? With a bad eye and simple mind. Well, apparently you actually had problems with the bad eye if you fixed it. Their words, not mine. I can assure you, why against all odds did I go out of my way to make her happy and healthy? Most importantly, why did I marry her, and now to become a father to a foal I conceived with her? Every time this has been asked to me, I always respond in the same way. Sure, I could tell him how wonderful she is, how beautiful I thought she was, even well before the operation, and I spent every day with her as a blessing in itself. I could tell them all that. I chose to answer the question in the simplest way possible, with a chuckle, sometimes a laugh, and tell them the same answer I always give. The same answer I gave her the night I first told her how I felt. The first time I revealed to her I was in love with her. Only 2 words, very powerful. 2 words that define our relationship. Why not? This fic is decent, but not without problems. The first part of it, and a lot of the romantic scenes beforehand, and some of the bits that don't involve surgery are pretty good. They're sweet and romantic, and I probably wouldn't be half as annoyed if it weren't for the whole medical bits. And of course, something else. I also really like how it kept at a good pace. I can see why people like this. However, I have a lot of problems later on. The biggest of all is this whole entire I'm going to give my eye for derpy bit. This whole entire eye surgery. I know the fic wants it to be romantic and sweet, but it doesn't come off to me like that. The way he was being secretive came off as more of, I've got to fix her. And this whole thing came off as, Derpy has this problem. He has lazy eye, and rather than being accepting of it, I've got to change her. And in order to make that fit in this narrative, we had to add problems. First, it was the bullying. Okay, fine. Then somehow she is so clumsy she gets a cut above her eye while on her normal route. And then apparently she fell down her stairs? Okay, problem. If she's that clumsy, how is she able to continue delivering and still hold down a job at this point? There was one fanfic that even talked about her losing her job because of that. Second, if this guy loved her so much, and he knew Ditsy was clumsy, why wasn't his first thought, okay, Ditsy, you're clumsy. Rather than putting my bed up there on the top floor where you could fall down and break everything, let me put my bed down on the bottom floor. Or better yet, get a 1-story house. Those do exist, you know. Those do exist in Ponyville. You are allowed to do that. But nope. Just put in randomly, which doesn't do Ditsy any favors.
It makes Ditsy feel infantile. It makes her feel like she needs someone to hold and protect her. Like she's not her own mare. Like she's not strong enough to survive on her own and she needs a big, strong stallion to protect her. What a load. And it comes off like she can't support herself. She is so clumsy. That to me kind of just takes me out of the picture. As well as this whole medical thing. It's like, oh, Dissy has to be fixed for me to make it look good for me. Hell, even her little said, I want her to be fixed. I didn't ask her if she's okay, but I know she's hitting it. I one time asked on a D&D Reddit if you had the power and magic to, say, fix a leg or fix an arm, why don't you take it? And I had a lot of interesting answers. But one that kept going in my mind, and one that stuck with me, is a lot of people with disabilities like this. Now, I'm not saying it's everybody, but some people like this do feel like there's nothing to fix, and they are okay with this. What's more, somebody also pointed out that the moment they get that replacement, it could fuck up for them, and they could be misstepping, it could be messing them up. Why do you think I talked about physical therapy back there? This whole entire surgery and this whole entire eye replacement crap came off as too easy for the characters. Like we had a magic fix button to immediately give our main character something he wants. Personally, I think it would have been better if it was cancerous or there was something that really, really was life endangering. That would have been more romantic. Oh, and side note, because I know this popped up with some of my riffers. If you people think when I say I would replace it or I think it would be better, I'm not being an arrogant person who's saying, I think I'm better than you. I think I know it all. No. You see, I used to want to be a teacher, and one of the things we learn is to give suggestions. And what I'm doing is giving people suggestions on how to improve, and in my vision on how to fix things. I'm merely offering them a few ways to help. I am trying to help you. If you people think that it means that I think I'm superior, get the stick out of your ass! Second part, and this ties back into the whole entire infantilism. Making Dinky Derpy's sister was the biggest failing in this whole fic! Like I said, I've gotten used to stories that have taken, liberties with certain fanon. Time Turner not being the doctor, Lyra and Bonbon not being a couple. Fine, I'm okay with that. But, as I've said before multiple times, one of the reasons why I love Derpy so much in fanon, and one of the greatest things I like about her fanon, is that while she's clumsy and can make mistakes, she tries her best to care for people. She tries her best to help others, and she tries her best to do everything she can to be supportive, and to be helpful, and to be inspiring. In a way, Derpy makes me think a lot of my mother. So, seeing you take away that relationship that's so valuable to her character just ticks me off. And what's more, this would have helped with her infantilism. Then this would have been a daughter asking for her mother to be helped, not a sister. Why? Because guess what? Hearing it come from your sister, it's not out the same way as hearing a daughter say, please help my mother. Trust me, I'm an older brother, and if my little brother came up with that bullcrap, I would be like, he would never say that. I would be pussing him in the friggin' face! Granted, he is a dragon. I had to fly up. but everything else about this is good. The main character is decent when he's not being a jackanate, although I wish his name was stated in the fic. Derpy is cute and charming as always. Although, to be fair, another thing I guess I just now thought about it, but I think another thing I don't like about this fic is that, aside from the party names, this does feel a little disconnected from the world of Equestria. And I really do enjoy how Big Mac is presented, and I enjoy everybody else. But the magical stuff and the so-called romantic bits fall flat sometimes. Well, you know what this means. Next time, Universe! See you then.